Hello, my name is Hakon and welcome back to another little tutorial on the Empress effects Zoia, the patchable modular digital synthesizer in a little box where the only limitation is your imagination and the CPU, of course. Today I'm showing you a tiny little patch that I made yesterday because I needed this for when I was playing yesterday. I was just playing a little bit with my Digitone synthesizer, and I realized that my favorite effect on the Zoia, or one of my favorite effects on the Zoia, the ping pong delay, actually had a shortcoming I hadn't thought of before. Now, I'm sure you know ping pong delay. It sounds like this. I'll just do that. So that's the default setting for the ping pong delay. You get a signal in, which can be stereo or mono. In this case, it is mono. And then it does every other delay repeat, and it pans it hard left, hard right, hard left, hard right. That's why it's called ping pong delay. The problem with that is that sometimes the hard panning can be too hard. If you're doing something that's supposed to sound a little bit ambient, for instance, you don't want something to stand out too much sonically in the around you in the what you're hearing. And you would also very often be listening with headphones. And so hard panning left and right can be a little bit too hard. And I wanted to be able to control the panning so that I can move it closer to the center and also move it around a bit if I wanted to. Which I thought would sound much better with what I was doing. And also, of course, the hard panning will sound a little bit less hard once you add reverb, because if you add reverb, you get a little bit of the signal, the space around the signal that is hard panned will also be spread out a little bit. So it's not entirely through one channel or the other. But if, like me, you like listening on headphones and you make music that is meant to be listened to on headphones, you may want to consider reducing the panning of the ping pong delay. Now, there really should be a module or a pad in the delay itself that allows you to set the width. And that would have been brilliant. A controllable pad, a controllable CV pad in the delay module would have been brilliant, but there isn't one. So the easy way to do it is to take the output of the delay into panning modules. I'll get to that in a second. I'll just quickly run through what I've got here. So, because I always do that. So I've got an oscillator running a triangle wave going into a VCA, and the VCA is controlled by an ADSR envelope that is triggered by this button here, and also through a MIDI module it's triggered by this MIDI input here, which is this button here. And then the output from the VCA here is patched into the ping pong delay, which has a mono input and stereo outputs. The left stereo output goes to this panning module. The right stereo output goes to this panning module. So while the output of the delay itself is hard panned left and right, this goes in here. Oh, and also I've also set the signal from the VCA directly to the output as well, so it bypasses the delay. So it's a mix you get at the end. So it's not only the signal that goes through the delay, just a little trick as well. And if you really want to control, you can put it through an audio mixer as well. But usually it works fine just sending it from the VCA directly to the output and then also into the effects. So left channel goes into a panning module. A panning module takes a single, actually you can get a stereo panning module, but for this I wanted two mono ones so I can actually control it properly. And I'll just put this back to middle. Yeah, okay, so the panning module has a panning control that starts at 50%. Now it's a little bit off because I've been moving it around a bit. The default is the value for the panning control starts in the middle at 50%, which means it is center. So if I do the sound now, it's in the center. So it's practically a mono delay effect at the moment. And the panning modules have two outputs, left and right. Or it's called out 1 and out 2. I could have called it left and right, I guess. And I patched those into left and right audio output. So how do I control the panning? So we have a MIDI input module here, which is this knob here. And as you can see, it goes down to -1 and it goes up to 1, which means it is set to be a bipolar signal. And the way you do that is when you set up the MIDI module, or if you use a control value instead, you would set up in the control value module. There is an option for output, and you set that is default to 0 to 1, but I've changed it to -1 to 1. So that starts out there, and I moved it to there. Done. Okay. And also on my MIDI fighter twister, I've set this knob to have a center detent, and then it goes down and up. A center detent on a MIDI controller basically just means the value starts in the middle, that is at 64. And then you move it down towards 0 and you move it up towards 127. And internally in the Zoia, that is what it does as well. When it has a -1 to 1 value, it actually still uses the same 0 to 1 control values, but it translates it into -1 to +1. Right. Which sometimes can get a bit confusing when you're doing patching, so it's one thing to be aware of. Not all modules handle negative values, and some do and some don't. So sometimes you need to convert in order to make a patch behave the way you want. I've talked about this in previous videos. Right, so we have a input here from the MIDI controller that goes to the panning control on one of the panners, on the right channel panner, and also into an inverter module, so that the output from the inverter is the opposite. So if this is now -00.79, and the output here then should be, well, it's a bit of a, yes, 0039. It's not exact, it doesn't have to be. Okay. I don't know why it's not. Okay. Yes, I know why, because got a bit confused there for a moment. I've set the connection strength to 50%, and the reason is because this starts in the middle, and I wanted to move from the middle to the end. That's only using half the range of the control values, which means that I can reduce the connection strength to 50%, and that means when I move this the whole way, I get to, well, it should be 100 there, but ish. To move this there, okay. So if I'd set it to 100%, if I'd moved it just halfway, it would have been at, like so, it would have been at the extreme, panned extreme right, but when I reduce the connection strength, I have to move it the whole way to get the hard panning. There we go. And so both of these connections now are at 50%. So, and by taking the CV that goes into the left-hand panning and inverting the number, you get the opposite of the right one. So when this is at 0.2 now, this is then panned 70%. So it's a little bit to the right. And this one is at 30%. So the numbers, these will always add up to 100. And if I keep moving this way now it's down to 10%, and this is 89%, so it's 1189. So they're always opposite of each other, equidistant from the center, and that's the nicest sounding thing, I think. Now, another nice thing about this is you can also play around with it while playing, of course. So you can actually move this knob or whatever controller you have assigned to it while playing. Another fun thing to do is to connect LFOs to these with a low connection strength that just adjusts a little bit. So it moves a little bit around and doesn't remain static, which can also be quite a nice effect. So that's the middle. A little bit to the side. Hard pan. And that's how it works. Quite a simple little thing, but it is very, very useful, I think. And it adds an additional little feature to the ping pong delay that I find quite useful. Right, I think that's basically all I wanted to show you today. So I'm just always so surprised when my videos are short because I've made something simple and it doesn't take that long to explain it. Right, so thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, if you learned something new or useful or inspirational as well, please like, share, comment, subscribe, all those things. Join me on Patreon if you want to support my channel and my creative work. And I will see you next time when I've got another video coming, and I don't know when it is or what it will be about, but there will be other videos coming. And thank you again for watching. Goodbye for now. Bye-bye.